Hey YouTube, welcome to DMG Gaming and Adventures. I'm your host, David Garcia. On today's video, we are bringing you a non-spoiler review of Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp. So before we get into the actual review of this movie, here's a highly recommended tidbit. If you're able to, dust off your copy and rewatch Marvel Studios' Captain America Civil War. Why? Because there is a lot of references to the events of that movie throughout this film. Besides, it's a pretty darn good movie to rewatch anyways, a collection of comic book superheroes battling one another, and let us not forget the debut of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's solely my suggestion, you can take it or leave it. Now, on to the review. Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp is Marvel Cinematic Universe's 20th movie to be launched in the last 10 years. It is a sequel to the original movie which debuted in 2015 named Ant-Man. And while it is a sequel, the timeline places this movie after the events of Captain America Civil War, which released in 2016, and it appears that the events in this film are taking place at the same time of the events of Marvel Studios' Avengers Infinity War. This is important to keep in mind as it explains Ant-Man's conspicuous absence from the blockbuster film of just a few months ago. The movie features a very large cast of many established Hollywood stars. In fact, toward the end of the movie, I started thinking and realizing how many well-known actors and actresses were in it. It's headlined by Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly, who star as Ant-Man and the Wasp. Rudd is still very convincing and likable as the lovable underdog Scott Lang, and Lily is still her complex yet badass self as Hope Van Dyne. The chemistry between the two is very believable and makes for an enjoyable ride throughout. Returning is the entire supporting cast from the original film, including Michael Douglas, Michael Pena, T.I., and David Dastmalchian. The original core crew of actors from the first film were fantastic. Douglas was as sarcastic and witty as ever, and Paul Rudd's crew of lovable ex-cons each shined in their time on screen. Pena definitely gets a lot more face time in this film and is featured a lot more than T.I. and Dastmalchian, but all three were great and funny throughout as the comic relief. About the only complaint, if you could even call it that, is the way Bobby Cannavale's character Paxton is portrayed in this movie. In case you need a quick reminder or history lesson, Paxton is the new husband of Rudd's character's ex-wife, and while they finally became friends towards the end of the first film, Paxton appears way too over-friendly and cheesy in this movie. Joining the returning cast is another wave of a who's who of Hollywood, including Michelle Pfeiffer, Lawrence Fishburne, Walton Goggins, and is rounded out by newcomer British actress Hannah John Kamen of Ready Player One fame. Pfeiffer portrays Janet Van Dyne, the long-lost mother of the Wasp and wife of Dr. Hank Pym. Pfeiffer was great in the role, and the story allows for future appearances from the legendary actress. Fishburne's performance as a former associate of Dr. Pym was both believable and compelling. Goggins' fun acting style was great as one of the movie's villains, although his character was pretty irrelevant in the bigger picture unless it's part of a larger story to unfold in future movies. John Kamen stars as the mysterious ghost, and much like her role in Ready Player One, she definitely comes off as a badass in this movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp follows up on the first film and Hank Pym's revitalized interest in the quantum realm. Quick spoiler alert here for the first film in 3, 2, 1. After Ant-Man was able to successfully go to and return from the quantum realm, Pym now wants to know more about the realm and what was the ultimate fate of his wife who he had lost years prior. The film contains a great balance of action and, during the slower parts of the movie, some great humor and fun that keeps the movie flowing and never feeling like the movie is dragging. The story is compelling, although some may find it a little too sci-fi for their liking. Overall, It is a wonderful addition to the MCU and continues Disney's string of strong entries into their ever-growing Marvel library. There is also the continued tradition of the mid-credit and after-credit scenes to stay tuned for, so don't leave this movie until the very end. Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp is a worthwhile trip to the movie theater. Given the responsibility of following Marvel's previous release of Avengers: Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp does a superb job of not suffering from a drop-off or a letdown, which would have been totally understandable considering it was following such a monumental film in Infinity War. However, a great ensemble, good storyline, and enjoyable visuals make this movie a successful and a great sequel. Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp get 4 Quantum Realms out of 5. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for viewing this video. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell me what you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And as always, whether you're a nerd, a geek, weird, or a freak, embrace your uniqueness because no one has ever stood out by trying to fit in. Thank you, and see you next time.